Have you ever imagined that just because of your face, a baseball bat could become a death sentence? Metal scrapes against concrete. Footsteps drum fast. A line drops into the Detroit night. Not fair. Then, silence, thick. Clotted. Like gasoline fumes. The night of the 19th of June. Etin Jobe Bashar. Detroit burns like a steel furnace. Neon bleeds like paint across wet asphalt. A group of friends spills out of fancy pants disco, still pounding behind them. Clothes steeped in smoke and cheap perfume. In the middle is Vincent Chin, 27. A design draftsman. Chinese American. He laughs with his whole shoulder, as if to hug the world. It's his bachelor party days from now. A small wedding. A promise tucked in his breast pocket someday. I'll tell our kid how fun tonight was. But that year's Detroit is a giant machine sputtering. The auto industry is in crisis. Curses rise on the street whenever someone drives a Japanese car past. People look for a face to blame, no matter the passport behind it. In the bar, stares linger longer than they should, whispers thin as knives. As Vincent and his friends joke, at another table, two men turn, eyes hard. A spiteful line jab, second hook. If a single misnaming can snap the safety off of hatred, do you think what follows will be an accident or a hunt? The quarrel flares from beer foam, from the throb of music, from a shoulder brush that might have been nothing. Faces pack in. Chairs skid back. Words fall from a drunk's mouth like stones. You people are stealing my job. Vincent fires back angry. Stunned. As if a single accusation just stripped away his citizenship. The manager pushes everyone out. The door slams, leaving this side to the dark street. The city's tired metallic hum. And three flickering words. Don't let this. It's already gone too far. The crowd thins. The road empties. Vincent and his friends peel off, thinking it's over with a long exhale. But two shadows won't dissolve. An engine roars. Streets not like a maze. Hatred needs no map. Vincent runs. His friends run. Footsteps colliding with wind and a shapeless fear. The shot shakes. A handheld chase. Streetlights streaking past like tracer fire. A parking lot. A bare patch of light under sodium lamps. Vincent is driven to the edge. A baseball bat is pulled from the trunk like an ancient ritual black. Slick. Cold. Curses scattered. Someone pleading. That's enough. The man with the bat hears no one, only the wind as it slices. Then a dry crack. Vincent drops. Blood. Wine dark. Crawls a long ribbon across the asphalt. He tries to lift his head. Eyes unfocused. Lips trembling. Not fair. Third hook in a city once proud to forge America. A human life is hammered, crooked, into a statistic. Cut to the ER. A heartbeat, steady but weak. Cold white neon pours onto skin, turning everything into black and white film. A mother's hand trembles through her son's hair. Lily Chin buckles beside the bed. Eyes blurred with tears, and a question no one can answer. What did my boy do wrong? Doctors shake their heads. 4 days later, the young man who was about to marry becomes a name in the paper. A smiling ID photo in a frame. A drizzling funeral. Cars passing. A distant train horn. A sob swallowed hard. Before the casket. A vow unspoken. This story will not end here. Then court. A courtroom, smaller than the voice of justice. The judge reads the sentence, words neat and dry as paper. The result: suspended sentence. 3 years probation. A fine of a few $1,000s. Not a single day in jail. Not one night staring at a cell ceiling. Not one metal door clanging shut. No one in the room can breathe as it lands. Lily Chin staggers into the hallway. Collapses against the wall. A cry, like tearing skin. Is a human life worth only that much? Fourth hook, when justice prices a life cheaper than a set of tires. The question isn't who's guilty, it's how numb we've become. Outrage spreads as fast as a spark in wind. In Little Saigon. In Chinatown. In the cramped kitchens, where new immigrants scrub dishes at midnight. Vincent's story rides across dinner tables. Through soup steam. Into mothers' worried eyes. Phone trees light up. Flyers run hot off the copier. A name hardens into a banner. Justice for Vincent. On Detroit sidewalks. Placards tilt in the wind. We are Americans. 2. Drums. Chants. Feet striking pavement, the city watches. Some turn away. Some stop. Some cry. Inside, the roar of protest. Backs straighten. Lawyers. Journalists. The far-flung Asian American community link up for the first time. They crowd into small living rooms. On the table, a teapot. Cookies. Stacks of tangled files. They learn to read the law. To write letters. To stand before a camera. A woman grips the mic. Voice firm as a hammer blow. This isn't one group story. This is the question. Who is American? Fifth hook, some tragedies tear a family apart, but some awaken an entire generation. The federal government steps in. A new trial opens, not just to weigh a crime, but to ask whether a blow carried racial hatred. Evidence. Testimony. Sidelong looks are laid out like pieces of a shattered photograph. This time, they name what happened, not a scuffle, but bigotry. There is a conviction, a conclusion. Hope flares fragile as a candle in wind. Then the wind rises. Appeals. A change of venue. Legal corridors twist like a maze every turn. A long sigh. Another verdict falls. Heavy as a slamming door acquittal. The floor drops away. Those who glimpsed a flash of justice sit back in the dark, looking around, asking each other, what do we do next? Sixth hook, when the court says no. History answers with one word: still. Still late nights. Hands drafting letters to senators. Names scrawled on petitions. Unsteady hugs that refuse to let go. Still, classrooms speaking about prejudice. About the invisible bias that can turn a baseball bat into a murder weapon. Still documentaries. Articles. Dinner table talks. You must know the name, Vincent Chin. Still, civil rights groups born of this pain. So anyone misnamed in the street won't have to stand alone. Picture this, years later. A high school class. The lights go out. A screen blooms. Playing a short film. Vincent's face appears gentle smile. Simple shirt. The teacher asks, if you were there that night, what would you do? The room is quiet. Then a shy hand rises. I'd say his name right. Another hand I'd shout so someone would stop. Another I'd call 911. And I'd stand in court to tell the truth. Answers flicker like seedlings after rain, but they are seedlings. Another scene. A silver-haired man stands by a cemetery fence, holding a white chrysanthemum. He exhales, sets the flower down, and whispers in mingled Chinese and English, "Rest easy. Your name won't be lost." The Detroit wind moves through oil, dry grass, the smell of long summers. Somewhere in the city, an Asian kid bikes across a bridge, chin lifted a little higher, because he knows he belongs here, not because anyone permits it, but because history has written his name with the sweat and tears of those who came before. How do we keep this story from being only memory? By facing habits. One by one, the joke about a name, the casual "go back to your country," the suspicious glance on the train. By asking, am I blaming a face for my own fear? By remembering that blind anger? In an economic crisis, we'll always find a pretext, and that pretext wears the face of the most vulnerable. If there's one message to leave for Vincent, it might be this: you were not only a victim, you were a beginning. From that dark night in a parking lot, a new road opened for Asian America, rocky, but with signposts, solidarity, saying the right name, the courage to speak. Each time someone speaks up in a classroom, an office, on the street, each time a verdict is questioned, that bridge between being seen and being treated fairly gains another span. And to anyone who has ever been misnamed, ever cast as foreign in their own home, hold on to this. Pain can make us quiet, but memory knows how to speak. Justice may come late, but truth does not change course for a verdict. In a city that once thundered with machines, there is a name that rings, light yet persistent, like wind chimes. Vincent Chin. At the end, if you're watching this, close your eyes for 3 seconds and ask yourself, what will I do when injustice stands before me? Open them. Choose one small thing, read more. Speak up. Protect someone beside you. Don't wait for a headline case to become a decent person. Sometimes, one person standing upright in the dark can turn the story. And when you pass an empty parking lot and hear a baseball bat clatter somewhere in your memory, say the right name. Say the victim's name. Say the hater's name. Say your own, so that from a night in Detroit in 1982, we learn to live with eyes open and hearts awake. Because not fair is only the starting point. The rest is what we do after.